interdisciplinary. So the author describes this as, quote, maintaining traditional subject boundaries while aligning content and concepts from one discipline with those of another, end quote. This is a little bit different than thematic approaches, which involves, quote, subordinating subject matter to a theme, allowing the boundaries between disciplines to blur, end quote, which is different from holistic approaches, which is all about, quote, addressing the needs of the whole child, including cognitive, physical, moral, affective, and spiritual dimensions, end quote, which is different from multidisciplinary, which is, quote, looking at a situation as it was portrayed in different disciplines, end quote, which is different than another definition of interdisciplinary, which is, quote, considering a problem in terms of different disciplines and then synthesizing these perspectives and coming up with a more general account, end quote, which is different than metadisciplinary, which is, quote, comparing the practices within a particular discipline, end quote, which is different from transdisciplinary, which is, quote, examining a concept as it appears in political and in physical discourse, end quote. Okay, so why all these different terms? And then there's even interdiscipline, which I mentioned in an episode 2 weeks ago, which is basically like when you fuse two disciplinary domains together to create a new one. Like bioengineering is the fusing together or merger of biology and engineering to create bioengineering, or ethics in engineering, and you could do ethical engineering, or ethical bioengineering, a combination of like 3 things. So those are like an interdiscipline. Okay, so why is it important to know the difference between thematic approaches, holistic approaches, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, metadisciplinary, transdisciplinary, or interdiscipline? Because whenever somebody talks about integration, we need to know, okay, well, what do you envision for that type of integration? Are you planning on integrating through a multidisciplinary approach or a transdisciplinary approach? Each one of these all serve different purposes and different rationales and can position the disciplines in a relationship with each other that might be beneficial to both or might only be beneficial to one. So when we talk about integration, it's extremely important that we really clarify, well, what exactly do you mean by this? What does that look like? This excerpt of the CSK8 podcast is from episode number 123. It's titled The Subservient, Co-Equal, Affective, and Social Integration Styles and Their Implications for Computer Science.